Daniel Mangena, welcome to Being. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here, for me to be here with, so we can be beings together.
We're all being together as one. Here we are. But really excited to drop in with you today and have a flowing, creative co-creation of a conversation. But for those of us, myself included, who don't know a lot about your work, I would love to just begin with, who is Daniel Mangena? What are the significant events that have transpired in your life so far, some milestones to bring you to this present moment?
Wait, we've only got an hour, so but we'll do what we can. So, I'm Daniel Mangena, also known by Dan. I live in Cabo in Mexico, but I'm from East London in the UK. My parents immigrated from the UK in the mid to late 70s from Zimbabwe in Southern Africa. So I grew up in East London, moved out to Mexico 3 years ago now. My wife, Olga, is Russian descent, but American citizen. I've got a stepdaughter, Ariana, who's 5 and some change. I've got a son, Ethan, who's 8 months old.
Wow.
We live down here. Ethan's, what do they call him? A chualito or something like that, because he was born here in Mexico.
Awesome.
Which is hilarious. But yeah, I'm really passionate about really bringing people to understand a simple idea. And whether I'm writing for Entrepreneur or other magazines, on podcasts of my own, or with amazing people such as yourself, whether I'm doing a TV interview, whatever it is, it's just bringing people to an understanding that abundance is our natural state and our birthright. And I really firmly believe that a lot of the ideas that we're battling with as humans, a lot of the challenges that we're facing might not be there had we already reached the tipping point that I am doing my best to contribute to us getting to, where more and more of us are holding that idea of love over fear, of abundance being our natural state, of there being enough for all, and that we will have something to contribute. And that's what I'm really about.
I love it. I would, and I totally agree, but I would love to hear what you define abundance as. What is abundance?
Yes. So we've actually got a teaching that we share called the triangle to abundance. And what it looks like is that the stages that we go through in relationship to material expression. We have scarcity, stability, freedom, abundance, and then beyond abundance we go to. Scarcity is when I don't have the physical, mental, and emotional capacity to hold a particular thing, whether that's financially, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is. Stability is when I have the resources, but I'm still exchanging time and energy in order to make that happen. So I could have a healthy relationship, but a healthy relationship could require my ongoing engagement. I could have health in my body, but I still need to take medicine in order to do that, or whatever the thing is. I could have sufficient money to live the life that I want to live, but I still have to go to work or work in my business in order to achieve it. Freedom is when I have incoming resources to meet those needs without me needing to exchange with it. So freedom of health in my body, freedom of health in my mind, freedom of health in my finances. When I've got income to meet my day-to-day needs without me needing to work. Abundance is when those things are in overflow. So I have an abundance of energy, I have an abundance of love to give to others, I have an abundance of money to be of contribution to others. That for me is abundance. It's the overflow beyond my needs without me needing to exchange time and energy with others in order to have those needs met.
That's a beautiful model. I love that. Scarcity, stability, freedom, abundance. And I totally resonate with you. And I think this idea of scarcity is an old idea and an old paradigm idea. So just from a devil's advocate point of view, what is scarcity, and is the idea of abundance for all possible? Like, the old scarcity idea says there's not enough for everybody, and I better hoard it for myself just so I can keep me and my family safe. And I don't care about you. I'm just going to turn a blind eye if you die or whatever. But is there enough for everybody, I guess, is the question.
I mean, if we look at financial, I focus really on the financial because I find it to be a tangible measuring stick as to whether something works or not.
Right.
If someone comes to work with me and they want to improve their finances, if I get to that level that we've set as a goal for ourselves, then it works. If I haven't got there, it hasn't worked. There's no, are you happy now? Like, we can't measure that, but we can measure that. There is more money now than there's ever been.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
40, I think as of earlier this year, 40% of all the dollars in existence had been printed in the 12 months before.
That's insane, isn't it? It's just, I know, it's just total insanity.
The European Central Bank is printing at a faster rate. The Bank of England is trying to keep up with them, our little island of England.
Yeah.
There's more money than ever. We
Right.
haven't hit the deflation, inflation madness yet. So still, there's more than ever. It didn't disappear. It didn't disappear into the ethers. It's there.
Right.
But it's people coming from this position of lack and scarcity and hoarding it. I need to keep it. I can't spend it. I mean, the idea of printing money is based on the idea that people actually accept abundance, but people come from lack. So what happens is they print this money and give it to people. They give stimulus checks in the US. Okay, people are going to spend it and it's going to move the economy. But so many people are coming from lack. They're hoarding their dollars. Inflation means that it's actually losing value anyway, but they're hoarding it. And then it doesn't end up doing the thing it's supposed to do. I think scarcity is a virus. It's a mind virus that's diverting us away from the truth that there is actually more than enough of everything for everyone. But a few of us are hoarding it in these pockets and not allowing the natural flow of it to happen around.
Yes, absolutely. So I guess the question then becomes, is abundance for all possible within this current economic system because of the hoarding of the elites at the top? You know, and so I agree with you. Abundance for all is totally possible. There's more than enough resources. There's more than enough everything on the earth. But it's because of some virus, like you called it, of scarcity or greed or ego that is keeping, a small number of people hoarding resources and wealth at the expense of everybody else. So for me, it's going to take a paradigm shift within the system for abundance to be available for all. Would you agree with that?
I do. But I mean, even when we look at, let's just introduce an idea around this thing of the rich hoarding. Well, I mean, I've seen these things that, if Jeff Bezos gave everyone $1,000, he still have X amount of billions.
Yeah.
But Jeff Bezos isn't actually sitting on billions of dollars in the bank. It's mostly in shares, which are propping up the stock market, which is propping up the 401k of middle class, which is creating space for employment for the working class. So it all kind of works together. If he did sell off enough to go and say, solve the world problems, in selling it off, the share price would tank, 401ks would tank, it bring down the rest of the stock market, businesses would close because of consumer confidence, then there's no working class, there's no middle class, and there's nobody that's actually creating value at that level either. There's a delicate intricacy to the system.
For sure.
I don't think it has to be ripped up and unended. And actually, I wouldn't even look at the elites to change. I look at us as the people who are actually number more to just do things differently. There are more of us here in the rank and file to produce that tipping point than there are in the 1%. What's the 1%? 80 million people? Was it 70 million people? What
that sounds right.
7.5 billion, something like that. Yeah. That leaves more than 7 billion other people to stand up and make a stance for abundance. Right. Number them. 99 to 1.
So from that perspective, what are some simple steps that people could take right now?
Appreciating the abundance that we do have already. Again, I believe it's a mind virus. It's a mind virus. And so it's going to be battled in the mind. And it's not going to be battled by being battled, because battling actually just gives life to the thing that we don't want.
Totally. Yeah.
Right? I hate the rich. I hate this. I hate that. I hate them, blah, blah, blah. Well, then you've got a resistant energy to money. Money can't come to you in that space. So you can't be a part of the solution. You're fighting it and spitting on it and crapping on it isn't creating any space for a solution, and isn't adding the solution, and actually pulls you out of being in a conducive space to actually be a part of any solution, because you're over here with no money to do anything. And as much as we want to talk about the new world order and the new earth and the new age, the fact of the matter is that this dualistic economy-based system that we're looking at has been going for at least a good 10,000 years. A good 10,000 years it's been running from. We're going to ancient Sumer, ancient Babylon, where my people are from in Zimbabwe, the great Zimbabwe, thousands of years ago, there was still commerce. So economic systems have been going for that long. There's no recorded history where there was no form of some kind of commerce. Even our cave hunting ancestors were exchanging for what they were short of with others, or at least trying to steal it, right? Because there was a movement of resources. So let's, instead of fighting what is, find a way to come into harmony with it so that we can inject some love and abundance into it. It can operate more effectively.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And so for me, it came from the agricultural revolution. For the first time in the history of human evolution, there was a surplus. And with a surplus comes privatization and trade and the beginning of commerce, right? But having said that, it also comes with the beginning of corruption and, you know, profit at all costs and externalizing harm. So for me, there is a fundamental flaw in the system. But again, what you're talking about is, I believe it's a mind virus. It's the ego, basically, that where when there's a surplus and I have more, I can do harm to you without caring about you because there's some perception of separation, which is born of my ego. And the same, similarly with nature. If I'm disconnected with nature and not remembering my oneness with it, then I can do it harm at the you know, for profit. So there's both, you know, interacting with the system, but also doing the internal work to create 100%. Abundance within. Yeah, beautiful, man. I read your mission statement and it landed so deeply with me, and it's actually eerily similar to mine. So I'd just like to read it right now, and then maybe we can unpack it a little bit. It says, to spearhead an evolutionary uplift in universal consciousness by awakening people to the importance of their unique role by way of a deep and often ignored or undervalued passion defined as their dream. Woo! So much power in that. It resonates deeply. But I'd love to unpack it a little bit. Like, what dream are you referring to?
So for me, the word purpose has become this buzzword that I think is doing more harm than good.
Great. This is going to be my next question. So let's go into it.
One of my keynotes when I speak is the pointlessness of purpose. And people say, what do you mean? Purpose is the buzzword. Jay Shetty said I should be on purpose.
Right.
That's great. But then look, Simon Sinek said, you know, start with why. And they had to go and write another book, Find Your Why, because so many people were stuck in this stagnant place looking for this one thing that they're here to do, that they stopped doing anything at all.
Yeah.
Looking for the one thing in a universe that's been demonstrated scientifically to be built on the idea of infinite possibility. We're looking for this one singular thing without which nothing has any meaning.
Okay, so this comes down to your definition of purpose, because I read that was going to be actually my next question: the pointlessness of purpose, because I do speak a lot about purpose in my work and in my life and my content. But what you said, searching for one specific purpose, I agree, is a fool's errand. It will keep you in paralysis. It will keep you stuck. But my definition of purpose isn't one thing; it's different. So basically, what I do is, I work with people to remove any blockages, any trauma, any limiting beliefs, any emotional wounds, any thoughts, any beliefs that are covering up their deepest essence, right? Your truest self, your highest self at the deepest level, right? And when you connect with that and you operate from that space and you move into the world, that will be the manifestation of your purpose. And it doesn't have to be one thing. In fact, in my own life, it's manifested as a number of different things, right? But when you're coming from that deepest essence and your unique gifts that only you have to offer the world, that is your purpose. How it manifests can look like many different ways, right?
And it can change from time to time.
And it can change.
Beautiful thing. If it's something that's so imperative that the divine has encoded it in us to be expressed, why do we think that we in our limited humanness have to uncover it so much as uncover the things? What is it, Rumi, that says your work is not to find love, but to find the things that block you to it, or whatever it is that Rumi says. That
exactly.
I know what you're saying. You weren't like, I'm going to help you find your purpose.
Right.
I'm going to help you get out of your own bloody way so that your purpose can do what it's here to do, which is to express itself.
Exactly. That's it.
And as I love to be contrarian in my way of expressing things, I deliberately found a new word and added more context to that in terms of using the word dream to add more essence in the way that I approach it, just to give people the opportunity to reflect, even having this conversation about purpose and giving your listeners the opportunity to explore, was I looking for that one thing? Was I trying to dig in and find it and maybe walking right past it in doing so?
Right.
Have I done the work of healing the space between me and that thing so that it can express itself? That's only possible because I use the word dream and not the word purpose. Had I used the word purpose, we would be having this conversation.
Right. Well, and I can tell you what I felt, or what I felt into when I heard that word dream, was the American dream, which is an illusion in my perspective as well. That's why I wanted to ask you, what's your definition of dream? Because the American dream, you're chasing the societal norms. You go to school, you get good grades, you get the house, the car, the kids, blah, blah, blah. You save for retirement. The white picket fence illusion, right? It's the carrot and the stick just leading you down a path, basically, so you'll, fall within the system and you'll pay your taxes and you'll go to work and do all those things, right? With the promise of fulfillment and happiness later on, right? And so for me, it's like, okay, well, that doesn't resonate with me. And so that's why I wanted to ask you, what is your definition of dream? And I think we got there. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. I mean, for me, the whole dream concept has got so many different levels. My company's Dreamer HQ. I'm Dreamer CEO on social media. My website, Dream with Dan, so on and so forth. There are so many different levels to it. I remember when I started studying dream yoga and going more deeply into the idea of lucidity and cross-referencing lucid dreaming as an idea with what we're seeing about the nature of reality through mysticism and also through branches of science such as the quantum physics. There are so many crossovers and similarities. And if we start to blur those lines, we'll actually see that life is a waking dream poetically, but also in essence, the similarities that cross over are so much the same too.
Totally.
When we start to look at ourselves as mediums of the expression of consciousness and all that kind of good stuff too, it's like, well, it is all just one big dream. But when I'm doing it with my eyes open, I'm consciously aware to what I'm dreaming and what I'm living and what I'm experiencing. And there's that sexy angle to it too.
Yeah, beautiful. And you also said in the mission statement, universal consciousness. So what you're describing now is an individual experience of consciousness as a dream state. But what do you mean by universal consciousness?
Well, if we look at singularity, so everything's 99.999% energy. Energy is singular in its expression, but then when the energy gets more dense and takes on the form of atoms and quarks and zeals and all the things, then it takes on physical form. But in truth, it's singular and it does have a level of consciousness to it. We are all of that consciousness, much like a drop of water in the ocean is still the ocean and the water at the same time.
I love that.
But the ocean is in the drop is in the ocean too, but they're one and the same, but an expression of. I love to look at water. Water, when expressed as ice, is still the same combination of H2O. As steam, it's still H2O. As liquid, it's still H2O, but it's H2O expressed in different forms. So beautiful. Universal consciousness is the H2O that sits behind those of us that are ice cubes, those of us that are bottled water, those of us that are raindrops, and those of us that are steam. It's still H2 underneath. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And it's a beautiful articulation. I haven't heard that before. So thank you for sharing that. That was awesome. I might steal that from you. I'm just going to let you know now.
Go for it. I'm sure I got it from somewhere.
Awesome. There's another signature talk of yours that I wanted to ask you about, which is called Stop Meditating, How Mindfulness is Sabotaging Your Success. And for somebody in the sort of mindfulness, game, I'm like, oh my God, these are awesome. I have to ask them about this. So what does that one mean?
You know what's really funny? My most recent TV slot that I had, it was a syndicated NBC station up in Milwaukee. I did it Monday of this week. And the reason why the hosts had me on is because they really wanted to like kind of put me in my place about this stop meditating stuff. What's really funny is when I shared on my social media the link to it, and the way that they titled it was Meditation, a first class ticket to nowhere. And people were in uproar. Oh my God, meditation is the first step to myself. You don't tell me this. And how can you say that? Listen to the interview.
Right.
Listen to the interview. Listen.
Was the title purposely that provocative or to incite that response?
They made it more provocative.
Right.
It was when I put it out.
Right. Okay.
So it got. And I'm on a CBS station in a couple of weeks. I'm interested to see how they're going to title it too.
Right.
But a lot of people they want to come and give me a slap around the ears for saying meditation this, meditation that. But by the end of it, they get what I'm saying, because I don't say don't meditate. In order for something to be stopped, it has to be in motion.
Okay, there's the nuance. Right.
In order for something to stop, it has to be in motion. And if we're stopping the vehicle of meditation, it's because we're getting out and continuing our journey where the car cannot go anymore.
Okay,
like
so
I can take a spaceship from here to the moon, but I can't fly around the moon. I need to get out and get in the space buggy.
Right.
At some point, I may need to get out and walk. And it's the same with meditation. We are not one-dimensional in our expression. From ancient times, I've spoken about spirit, mind, and body.
Right.
Physical, mental, and spiritual. all the different combinations of the same mind, body, soul, mind, body, spirit, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We are multi-dimensional, and those expressions of ourselves at those different levels have ways and means with which we can communicate with that level of ourself and that level of whole that exists on that level. I can move through time and space, but my moving through time and space doesn't communicate anything in terms of my emotion and spirit unless there's a direct relationship to it.
Right.
Meditation at its pristine purity. Yes, we're going to talk about the effect that it has on the neural pathways and on the brain and all the things, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, as a tool, mindfulness is to deal with what's happening with us at the spiritual level, at the non-physical level of spirit, of energy, of frequency. But beyond that, we still have a mind that's a gatekeeper to which of those experiences actually make their way into physical form. Don't believe me? Go and research the reticular activating system. If you don't believe something's possible, it's not going to show up for you. You're not going to see it. The opportunity is not going to be witnessed by you. So it's not just about meditation. It's about taking the beauty and power of meditation and continuing the momentum into addressing our mental narratives, our beliefs, and our stories, and whether they support the thing which we've sought to bring into form through our mind movie, through our vision board, through our meditation, through our prayer, our trip to the temple, the mosque, or the church. And then to show up in physical reality, ready to receive that which we've set in motion, and ready to hold an environment that continues to be conducive to continuing to receive that. Else, I had it once and I go back. Lottery winners, 90% of them go back to exactly where they were within 5 years because they don't have the capacity to hold that which showed up.
Yes.
I tell people to stop meditating.
Beautiful. I would like to sort of reflect it back to you, maybe in different words, how I understand what you're talking about.
Sure.
The mind is inherently limited. Like it's processing so much information from reality, it has to block off over 95% of it in order for us to just function and make sense of the world, right? So inherently the mind is reductive. And so if you are looking at the world through your conditioned mind and its limitations and your beliefs, then obviously that's going to put a barrier to what you can achieve and what you will allow into your experience. So again, what I was talking about earlier about how I help people move past their mind, and meditation is one of the tools that I use, but it's to move past out of the mind and more into the body, more into the heart, more into the soul. And if you're operating from there, then it opens up all of the possibilities because it's not going through the reductive valve of your mind. Right. And so you can be open to new frequencies, new possibilities, new energy, anything from that space. And of course, your mind will continue to be an incredibly valuable tool, but it's not operating as the primary input source. Right. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Right.
It does. And there's one thing I just want to sort of loop universal law into this. When we look at the law of polarity, which invites us to explore the fact that nothing in reality is in a half. It's always whole. The second that we have anything physically embodied, like a desire, that means that three-dimensional reality is already expressing the opportunity for us to have the embodiment of that intention. But when my mind is blocked, I won't see it. So many people have been praying for something and don't realize it's in their world right now.
Right.
But because they haven't opened up to the fact that beyond that spiritual mindfulness practice, there is a call to open up their mind to receive it. They're in their own way. They're not able to actually connect with something that doesn't even need to be manifested anymore because it's already here.
Yes.
That's what I'm really calling people to connect with.
Yes. Not waiting for the physical evidence to show up, aligning with the frequency of it, and then receiving it into your life. Right.
Yes. Because the physical manifestations are a reflection of what's going on inside of us anyway.
Exactly.
If we go down the path of what we're seeing, the quantum physics has shown us about the observer effect and how energy collapses back into form.
Yeah.
But that instruction of the collapsing into form gets distorted by our limited belief that it's not possible. I'm not worthy of it. I need to do this. I need to do that. I can have it when, I can have it if. But I'm praying for it, but I can have it if, but I'm praying for it, but I can have it if, but then I'm not doing anything to move through time and space to connect with that if that I've actually preset as a prerequisite for actually experiencing it.
So there's some balance here between intention and action. And that's what I'm hearing you say.
Intention, action, and surrender.
And surrender. Ooh, yes, those three things together. So powerful. Amazing. I'd love to apply this. And one of the next questions I wanted to ask you about is The Money Game, one of your books, which I haven't had the pleasure of reading yet, but it sounds incredibly exciting. But people's relationship with money, I think, and myself included on my journey, has necessitated me looking at those beliefs and the scarcity and the virus of the mind that creates this wall of lack that prevents us from receiving. So if somebody might be struggling with money right now, or abundance in general, what are some practical things they can do right now to start moving out of their mind and more into alignment with it?
You can definitely play the money game, which one to do it. But one of the things the money game does, so there's a principle that we teach about called micro shifting.
Okay.
And what micro shifting does is it invites us to not hit the brick wall of resistance that comes when something is so far outside of our realm of belief. So we ask ourselves, what is just outside of our realm of belief, so we can see it and it's close enough for us to touch it, but we're still stretching because it's outside of where we are.
Right.
So when people play the money game, or we've got a challenge that we've got online that people can have fun with us doing a challenge. And the funny thing is that the challenge, the goal is only to manifest $10. And yet we've got a record of $75,000 manifested in 2 days. Before that was 55,000, before that 27,000 pounds. An average somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 every time that people play this game, even though it's gone out to manifest just $10. Reason being is that when we remove the resistance of the big goal, we're actually open up to actually stretch a little bit more.
Yes.
When we're not saying, was it just run as fast as you can, not run the 1,000 miles, just run as far as you can. And we will run as far as we can because the mind's going to go to whatever our limitation is right now.
Right.
And so the money game actually incrementally takes you through 3 separate phases, 15 steps, there's 5 steps in each phase to push, stretch, and expand what you believe is possible for you to come into your reality without you lifting a finger specifically. You can then apply it to stuff like I use it in my business to create clients and to create opportunities where I'm actually moving, but I also still play it on a consistent basis to manifest things spontaneously coming into my life.
Yes, I love that. Well, I'm totally going to do it. That sounds amazing.
It's good fun. It's really good fun. And if people, there's like a link which we can give you for people to come and get the book, the ebook of it for $1 instead of going on Amazon and paying $20 for the book. They can get it for $1.
Awesome. We'll definitely put that in the show notes. Thank you so much for that. So for me, money and that societal sort of white picket fence, carrot and stick game has sort of been the thing that people are motivated by. And it's become synonymous with success. If you have financial success, that means you're successful. So I wanted to ask you about what is your definition of success, and has it changed over time?
So my definition of success isn't just getting what you want, but having a conscious relationship to what you've gone after in the first place. So it's an intentional desire that I've gone out for and I've actually met by manifesting it into my reality, manifesting it into form. Because so many people are qualifying themselves as being successful, but they're chasing after things that other people, places, and things have told them that they should get.
Exactly.
And wonder why they feel empty at the end of the day. But I've got the white picket fence, and I've got a dog called Poodle, and I've got 2.4 children. That one's not finished growing yet, and my wife is this, and blah blah blah, and I'm at the cricket club and all the things. But you're empty. Yeah. Because it wasn't what you want; it's what society told you that you should want. That's
exactly.
When we get midlife crisis. People going to drink and drugs and go and have an affair with a 24-year-old that works in the office or whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
Because this part, the heart, hasn't expressed itself because the song that it's been singing is not being heard.
Right.
Instead, what we've heard from Instagram and Facebook and Saturday Night Live or whatever has given us this thing of what we're supposed to chase after. And that's the dream that we end up expressing and we call ourselves successful. But it's not even what we want. We're not happy with it at the end of the day.
Right. So to me, though, we're conditioned with those values. They're basically our values. We're conditioned to value success and money and material things by the media, by our peers, even our parents who are doing it unconsciously. So it's no wonder that many of us fall into that trap. So, what are some of the tools to connect more deeply with your heart and to move into that space of abundance now in your life?
Well, first and foremost, we have to wake up and actually claim responsibility.
Right.
If we're still blaming other people, places, and things for the fact that, this is the way it is, it's because of what the government said or what I had in school or because of the TV and all the things. Unless we claim that agency back, how can we exercise it?
Right.
I can't exercise an agency that I put in the hands of others through blame.
Right.
There's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
So that responsibility that I'm stepping into is also going to have other things that I have to be responsible for too. It means I can't blame people for the way I am emotionally. I can't blame people for, I have to take agency on board, full stop. Otherwise, there's always going to be space for other people, places, and things to have a say in what I'm manifesting in my life.
Totally.
And most people aren't ready to do that.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't blame my mum? What do you mean I can't blame the government? I voted for that person, the other person got in, I didn't vote for this person or the other thing, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we ready to do that? Because if you're not ready to do that, then there's always going to be a back door for stuff to come in. So we need to be ready to step up and do that.
Yes, I totally agree. Taking responsibility as at the center of my message as well. And it's like you said, it's something that is challenging if you're not used to taking responsibility. You're used to assigning blame elsewhere. It's a fundamental shift, and it can be uncomfortable. It comes with so much power and agency, like you said, and sovereignty. And when you start to feel that in your body and you feel that power, that's when you set a foundation for which you can now begin to move through the world and attract the abundance that is your birthright, as you said at the beginning. It's beautiful. I want to come back to the idea of universal consciousness, because that's something I'm very interested in now more than ever. Because like I said, for me, the fundamental problem that has been like many of the problems we're seeing is the result of us crawling into it like a shell of an ego, right? And so once we crawl into that shell, we cut ourselves off from our heart, from each other, and from nature. And so we're able to do the horrendous things we've done as a species. But I think adding to that, the collective traumas that we've experienced, be it racism or war or slavery or genocide or rape or all of those things that are, in our sort of collective field that need to be healed on a collective level, because they're operating in the unconscious of society, basically, and allowing for this conditioning to continue. So for me, it starts at the individual level, as like you said, taking responsibility, doing the work of removing or healing trauma or limiting beliefs. But then as we do, we need to start coming together with others and start communicating in an authentic way, and begin to act with trust and love and compassion, and use our capacity in collaboration, in co-creation, to create a new paradigm that obsoletes the old one. That's kind of the model that I'm working towards. And so this idea of universal consciousness is a decentralized network of individual nodes of consciousness, which we are as human beings, operating in collaboration, much like the internet or the blockchain does right now on digital space, right? It's kind of the organic blockchain, this bottom-up decentralized network of healed humans working in collaboration, not in competition, right? For me, that's the sort of the basis. So would you agree with that? I just wanted to put that out and get your reflection.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to go back to nature. I don't think you've said anything that doesn't appear naturally in nature. Is there competition in nature? I don't think there's competition in nature. Things grow in nature and grow at different paces. But they don't hold grudges or say, well, you grew faster than me, so I'm going to go and rape all of your grains of sand. Like, it's just like, your grains have got more water than we're going to come and shed your sand blood. That's not what happens in nature. It kind of just does its own thing.
Yeah.
Right. The gazelle whose child gets eaten by a lion doesn't hold trauma against lions. It shakes it off because it recognizes that's the natural way of things. So there are some things that will still probably be expressed, but they'll be expressed from a different level of consciousness.
Yes, exactly.
Will there still be some kind of competition? Yes, but not this bloodthirsty kill or be killed, dog eat dog competition. It's going to be some things grow at a different pace, some things move at a different rate than others, because that happens in nature. But our limited, egoic, hate, fear-driven things won't be there. Won't be there.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Be there. So that's where I stand on that.
Beautiful. And I think there's a nuance here between competition in an unhealthy way and a healthy way. Right now, it's an unhealthy way where your failure is my gain. So seeing you suffer makes me happy, right? And that's the unhealthy competition. The healthy competition is when you are successful, it improves my life. So all lives, exactly. So our incentives are aligned. So there's a healthy competition. I'm inviting you to be better. I'm inviting you to grow and to be in more radical expression of your unique gifts, because it improves your life and the life of everybody, for all of life, right? So competition,
and all of us striving for that win, all of us striving for that growth is what's pushing everything forward. But again, as humans, I need to do corporate espionage. I need to sabotage the competition.
Exactly.
I'm going to taunt them and beat them up because I don't believe in my ability to win naturally. So I need to cheat and go and do this and go and do that. Versus my intention is to be at the vanguard of all of humanity going forward, because I'm inspiring and pushing everyone else to go forward. That, I think, is a big part of that nuance also.
I love it. This is beautiful. And Daniel Mangena, This has been amazing. I've only got a couple more questions for you. I know you're a busy man. I just wanted to ask you, so what is something unexpected you've learned about either yourself or humanity in this life that you've lived so far?
One of the biggest things that really helped and supported me was an idea I let go of. I remember there was a meme that I saw once where there's this guy looking up at the heavens and he goes, "Lord, save me from my haters." And then there's like the whole thing of God with the finger saying, "Dude, nobody's thinking about you." I don't think you've ever seen that.
Nobody cares. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
And I remember like even, making my battle back from the shadows of suicidal ideation and looking back on it, not because of anything other than I was full of shame based on my obsession over what I thought other people were projecting at me based on what they thought about a person that they may not even know all that well.
Wow. It's amazing how convoluted the stories we can create in our mind, right?
And it's like one of the things I found most is that, are there trolls? Yeah, I'm in the public eye. There are trolls, right?
Of course, yeah.
There are people that, look at what you did that, and blah, blah, blah. Really? Yeah. You don't even know me, bro. Yeah. But guess what? People that have got time to talk about you and your story and to put you down when you're trying to put good out in the world, probably doing it because they're from a place of pain that stops them looking at their own life.
Of course, definitely.
They deserve your love and your compassion.
I agree.
Not you giving them sufficient power to actually stop you moving forward. And that's one of the biggest lessons I found in my life.
Yes, that is so powerful. Yeah, it hurt other people. So if somebody's projecting, there's probably some healing inside of them they're probably unaware of that needs their attention. So yeah, that's a beautiful expression. Okay, Daniel, I've just got one more question for you, and it's a doozy. If you were to take all of your experiences, all the knowledge and wisdom gained, and distill it down into one message or one sentence, what would it be?
Ooh, everything I've learned into one sentence. Ooh. None of us are getting out of this alive, so don't take it all so seriously.
Beautiful. I love the playfulness of it. Some people go real deep. Some people just keep it simple. When I ask them that question, I love your answer. Daniel, this has been amazing. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to discuss?
Just take it one day at a time. Take something from this. Patrick and I've gone into a lot of different areas and given different opportunities to dive deep into different things, but just pick one thing that you actually apply and integrate. Don't let this be a wasted time in a beautiful conversation.
Yes.
Let there be some integration, some implementation of just one thing that you can carry into your life.
That's a great piece of advice. And I'm going to heed it myself. I'm going to go do the money game because that sounds really exciting. I'm going to go try it out.
It's good fun. It's good
awesome.
Fun.
I will definitely put that in the show notes. I will definitely. Daniel Mangena, thank you so much for your time, brother. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all the work you're doing in the world. Yeah, keep it up. All right, man.
Thank you.
Peace. Have a great day.